Hey everyone, I'm Red from Rindar Gaming, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the Raider.io website, the scoring system, how it all works, and how to make it work for you. If you're new and enjoy the video, make sure to hit that sub button. Raider.io is a Mythic Plus scoring system that was released during Legion and swept the Mythic Plus scene like wildfire. The TLDR, it records any notable Mythic Plus runs you do, assigns them a score, and then adds all your highest dungeon runs together to give your toon a total. So this is the Raider.io website. The address is just raider.io. And you can use this website in one of two ways. You can either create yourself an account and log in, or you can operate in like a guest mode, where you go in here, you type your toon name in, and you find it that way. So we'll do that. We'll go Rindar tag Zul'jin right here. And then this is going to pull up our actual toons page. Okay, you can see Rindar right here has a score of 898. That's my total score. You've got other information on here, like I've added in some of the YouTube and Twitch links, as well as my BattleNet and my Twitter address. You can see you've got your gear here, raid progression, and then right down here, it kind of gets into the Mythic Keystone bit. There's a lot of data here, but we're going to try and unpack that as much as possible. So the first question you're probably asking is, how do you generate a score? And how does the scoring work? So how do you get points, right? Well, when you run a key, it's automatically assigned a score based on the level and whether or not you timed the key or not. So for the first 10 keys or so, you're going to see it's about 10 points per level, with a few extra points if you like time the key with minutes to spare, and then you're going to lose a lot of points if you fail to time the key. As you'll see kind of with this 11, we missed it by about 3 minutes, 96 points on what should have been about 110, but on this 10, we timed it by 6 minutes and 43 seconds. We only got 101 points for it. So there's a little bit of disparity there. You're typically going to lose more points than you gain when you're talking about timing or not timing keys. Okay. So how do you maximize the run? Try and do keys that you guys can time. But if you can get into like a 12 or something, it's going to probably be worth more than running like a 9 or 10. So you can still do those, not time them, get a bunch of points, and work it out that way. We'll go into more about how to maximize your score in a minute. Okay, so how do you determine what key actually gets ranked finally, right? If you've been playing for a while, you'll know that some keys, like if you run a 2 on, say, a Monday, it's probably not going to actually rank. That's because there's a leaderboard system in place. So WoW itself has a website with the top 100, 200 runs, something like that, that you'll see. Raider.io actually records the top 500 weekly runs for each dungeon and realm, and that's very important, each realm. So in order for you to actually score that key, it has to be one of the top 500 runs for that dungeon, for the realm that your toon is on, or any other toon in your party. So I don't actually have the board here because we're actually in a maintenance right now. But if on Zul'jin, this 9 key or what have you, doesn't rank on Saturday, if I have somebody in my party from a server that's maybe not as populated or doesn't have people that push quite as hard, if it ranks on their server, you will get points for it because that key did in fact rank. So you want to make sure before you start a key, if you're looking for points, that it will A, rank on your server, or B, rank on the server of somebody in your party. Okay, just a big tip to kind of keep looking at. So with that being said, it is definitely advantageous to run as early in the week as possible, because it takes a while for that top 500 keys to actually fill up throughout the week, right? And then the bottom kind of gets pushed up as people continue to push later in the week as they get more comfortable with the affixes or whatnot. So you're going to want to be looking to run keys Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on when your reset is, and just try and get them knocked out early, because then you have the best chance of them scoring, whether or not, you know, they are that monster 19 key, right? You can usually score 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s early in the week, as long as you do it like shortly after reset. Okay, so now you've ran a few keys, you're looking at your board, and you want to know, how do you maximize your score? How do you start to kind of bump that number up? Because there should be some low-hanging fruit. If you haven't been looking at this website regularly, there should be a few areas where you can come in, pick out, okay, I want to run this key or this key, and that's going to maximize your point gains throughout the week. So if we're looking at my board here, you can see this King's Rest 9 here is one of my lowest runs, right? It's bottom of the list. But, big but, like thick but, this Atal Dazar, I've only got 77 points on it because we failed to time this 10 Atal. Okay, so even though this is showing as my lowest run, if you sort them by score, this is actually where you want to start. I want to shoot for an Atal Dazar, a King's Rest, or a Tol Dagor, and I want to bring those keys up. And then as those keys kind of fall down, just always be doing, you know, these top 2 or 3, and that way you're kind of getting the most bang for the buck, right? Keys usually take about an hour by the time you get the group built, get out there, fast fed, and all that good stuff, get all buffed up, and then get running through it. It's about an hour commitment per key. You want to be using that time effectively. You want to be looking at what scores the lowest for you, or if there's blanks on your board, instantly go for those. Rank out that 5, rank out that 6, do it early in the week, just smash the key, and it's going to give you that 50, 60 points that does add up very quickly. If you ran all 10 keys at a 5 and timed them, you're sitting at a little over a 500 score, right? It's not a lot, but it's a start. But you kind of want to take advantage of the fact the system's been out for a while. It's fairly well understood how the points work per dungeon, and you want to be using that knowledge to your advantage. You want to be maximizing your runs and getting every single point possible. So let's talk a little bit about roles, okay? And I'm not talking about dinner roles. We're talking heal, tank, or DPS. Now, tanks and healers kind of have an advantage in this because they're a little bit harder to find during the week. If you're trying to plug them in, DPS seem to be kind of a dime a dozen. Tanks definitely aren't as plentiful as they were during Legion. So if you want an easy way to push your score, make sure that you can kind of get into the keys that you need, running as a tank wouldn't be a bad idea. If you do want to go tank or heal, make sure you look at what specs are doing well. And if you enjoy playing one of those specs, maybe jump into that. If you do want to play DPS, just be warned. DPS tend to fall into 3 categories: flavor of the month, viable, and nope. If you've been playing an enhancement shaman for the last, 3 months now, you know what the nope class looks like. Going to be very hard to get into some of those keys. If you're playing a rogue, you probably think Mythic Plus is awesome, and you can't understand why people are bitching about not being able to get into keys. Okay, so now you've run a few keys, you've been putting in some work, and you want to start talking about these rankings here, right? Because this is kind of what it's all about. People are typically running these keys for their shot at, you know, your realm rank, your region rank, or your world rank. So your realm rank is, I play on Zul'jin, this is where I rank out on Zul'jin. Region rank is, I play in A, this is where I rank out in A. World's kind of self-explanatory. So what you want to be looking at is, okay, I'm top 250 overall for Death Knights, 204 for tanks, 370 for DPS. I don't really run a lot of DPS. If you use these tabs here, you can see where you break out based on the roles. So here's the one that I've done as tanks. Here's the ones that I've done as DPS. So you can see right here, like if I wanted to bump my DPS score up, I would need to fill in these blanks. So we'll sort by score, and we just want to kind of start filling them in, right? Do all these blanks, and then the 20, the 40, the 47, and I want to just kind of bring all those up, and I could roll those up. I kind of switched over and started maining tanks, so I'm more looking at this board. Oh, load up, there you go. I'm more looking at this board with my time, but that's what you want to look at for these ranks here. And if you go and click on one of these, we'll open a new tab so I can show you. Open up. This will actually show you all the different Death Knights, right, on this server. So you can go through here and go, oh my god, who's the top Death Knight for Zul'jin, yada yada, and it's this guy, right? And he's running 18s and 19s and stuff, so that's gotta be fun. But you can use these and you kind of look through, and it's also a good resource because you can go in here and you can see what they're running. You can check out all their different gear, how exactly they set up, what trinkets are they using, what weapons are they using, what kind of stats are they stacking, where's their Heart of Azeroth at, all this other stuff, right? And you can kind of look through there. But that's I don't know, that's like WoW Stalking 101. Just go in here and like snoop all over people. You can get really cool build ideas. Here's all his Azerite powers. It's really good stuff. Okay, so now you've got your score. What does all that mean? How does it actually affect you in game? Because whether you know it or not, your Raider.io score affects your gameplay every single time you try and get into a Mythic Plus pug group, right? Thanks to stuff such as the Raider.io add-on, which is right here, you can mouse over somebody in game, find out what their Raider.io score is. So when you go into queue up for a dungeon and people start listing up, if you mouse over their toon name, it'll actually show you what their score is. When I queue up on Ren, it shows people I am 898.2, and then they get to decide if that is good enough or not. So you want to be using these add-ons and things when you're putting your groups together to try and make sure you're getting the best quality players possible for your content. And also you want to make sure that your score is high enough to kind of get you into the groups that you want to be playing in. If you want to be one of the guys running 14s and 15s, you need to start pushing these scores up, because that means you should have about a 1500 score to show that you're capable of doing that content. So this add-on can be downloaded via websites like Twitch or however you get your add-ons for WoW. You can also get the desktop add-on, which you can get right here, Raider.io add-on, and then just download the IO client, populate that, log in, and you should be good to go. You'll need an account for that one if you want to do that, though. You'll have to register some tunes in there and whatnot, but it's not very hard. It's very, very easy to set up. And then once you get that installed, they've got some screenshots here of what it's going to look like when you mouse over somebody. So here it shows this is the toon name, text, server, guild, yada, 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 what their actual score is, their best run. You can also see all the different breakouts for all their different runs, which is very, very good. That's looking at somebody's profile. It shows main scores and alt scores. You can directly copy somebody's IO profile to the website so you can see what the runs are, right? And that's really handy, because if you want to actually look at like what's the amount of runs somebody's done. So if I'm going into a freehold group, they want to know, well, how many times has he actually ran a freehold? And they can see, well, shit, dude, in the last week he's timed it twice. He might be all right, you know, came in almost 2 minutes under that one. So if I'm trying to plug into a 10 for that, even though I've only ran a 10, I've timed it twice, and I've done some others as well. So you can kind of see a history, and you can get a better idea of what that player looks like, or somebody else can get a better idea of what you look like when you're going in for one of those groups. But I think that about covers it for the Raider.io website. There's a lot to it. It holds a lot of data, and it's a really, really good resource. It should not be viewed as like the end-all, be-all for Mythic Plus and evaluating a player. There's a lot more that goes into it, such as little things like, are they going to work well with your party? Are they going to communicate? Are they kind of a dick? So don't just start calling people by a number. It's kind of a toxic attitude that people have been taking lately. But get on this website, get familiar with it, start looking over the keys that you've ran, where you can improve your scores. And if you have any questions, post them in the comment section below, or feel free to hit me up on Twitch or Twitter. Links will be in the description. And if you enjoy this video, make sure to hit that sub button, guys. It helps us out a lot. Until next time, later, y'all.